So, I guess if nobody has any opinion, I think that I kind of want to read this Intercept article. Since we just got done watching Ryan Grimm, I figured we'd read the Intercept, which I think he potentially reports in, or maybe that's just drop site, but I thought he also reported in this. But this is an article by Nick Turse. Now, I'm assuming everybody out there kind of remembers this war started out with the most precise strikes that have ever existed. Two double tap strikes right into a school. Like you have to admire the precision of our military. Now, immediately after, our our best and brightest, Pete Hegseth, came out and said, "Wasn't us. Didn't do it. Never heard of it. School." Never seen one, which I kind of believe, but uh, not the rest of it, but that he has ever stepped foot in a school, unless you're talking about like a college to go like I don't know, a make a bunch of like college girls feel uncomfortable or whatever at a frat party. But um, so I think we all kind of saw that as bullshit. But let's see what this article by The Intercept has to say about this strike on a school in Iran. So this is by Nick Turse, March 11th, 2026. That's today. Despite attempts by Trump to claim otherwise, the U.S. military was responsible for killing at least 175 in a strike in Iran. A U.S. military investigation determined in its preliminary findings that the United States conducted an attack on an Iranian elementary school that killed at least 175 people, most of them children. Classic America shit right there, according to two U.S. officials familiar with the ongoing inquiry. The findings directly contradict assertions by President Donald Trump that Iran struck the school, which is like, dude, we live in hell. We live in hell. We have to keep doing the same shit over and over again. That's exactly what happened when Israel struck that hospital the first time, if you remember, in Gaza. They claimed it was actually Hamas who fired the rocket, and but then after that one made it through the press, after that one kind of we all moved past it, then they systematically destroyed every hospital after that. So let's hope that we don't go through that same process here and start systematically destroying every school child in the nation state of Iran. But okay, the lethal strike on the Shajara Tayyibeh elementary school building was the result of a targeting error by the U.S. military, which mistook the facility for a part of the IRGC Navy base that was adjacent to the school, according to one of the U.S. officials who spoke to The Intercept on the condition of anonymity to discuss an ongoing investigation. Wow, way to go. There's a reason that you can clearly tell there's a reason that we spend $1 trillion on our military. This type of precision, man. U.S. Central Command attacked the school based on long outdated coordinates for the strike provided by another defense agency, one of the officials told The Intercept. While the Shajara Tayyibeh Elementary School was once connected to the IRGC base by roads, the building was partitioned off by 2016, according to an investigation by New Lines magazine. The attack, which came after a year-long effort by Secretary of War Pete Kegsbreth to gut programs to reduce civilian casualties, killed more civilians than any other strike in Trump's second Iran war. It was a colossal negligence, one of the current government officials said. Okay, yeah, obviously. We are that's the whole thing he said. He said that not killing civilians is woke, right? Like not killing civilians is woke. So clearly he had to do the most anti-woke thing and kill as many school children as possible. Like that's the whole point. That's like why they got rid of all those programs. That's what they keep telling us. So yeah. Trump has repeatedly claimed that Iran was responsible for the strike, despite mounting evidence to the contrary. In my opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran. Trump told reporters March 7th, they have no accuracy whatsoever. It was done by Iran. Um, Wes Bryant, who served until last year as the senior analyst and advisor on precision warfare targeting and civilian harm mitigation at the Pentagon's Civilian Protection Center of Excellence, called the attack on the Shajara Tayyibeh elementary school a failure in fundamental targeting doctrine and standards. Not no more, baby. That's what we like to call a success. that's an that's an anti-woke success right there, baby. um, Bryant, who called in thousands of strikes across the greater Middle East as a special op joint terminal attack controller, said it was common to rely on outdated imagery while conducting operations. As a targeter, the imagery and initial intelligence data you receive on a potential target or target set is just the start. You don't prosecute based solely off any organization, NGA or otherwise. Giving you an image and saying they have intelligence that it's an enemy location, he told The Intercept, referring to the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, which specializes in such imagery. You corroborate with other intelligence and you conduct as near real time as possible characterization of that target, as well as the civilian presence and risk to include collateral damage and analysis risk collateral damage analysis risk of civilian casualties. Sorry, that was a hard sentence to read. But I'm also curious if there's any introduction of like AI into their like targeting shit. I've said before that like their AI they're going to use AI to do war crimes, but they're not going to do it like for real, right? Like they're not going to be like, "Hey, can you find me all of these targets that are can you find me all of these targets that are like IRGC command centers or whatever," and then like accidentally hit some non like the AI hallucinates that the school is like an IRGC command center or whatever. Um, and they accidentally hit one that way. That's not how it's going to go. What the way that America works is they're going to say, "Hey, we're trying to hit as many schools as possible, as many schools as possible, and kill as many children as possible." AI, can you please take the blame for that for me, please? And the AI will dutifully say, "Yes, Pete Kegsbreath, I will happily take the blame if you are ever put on Nuremberg trials." Like, that's the main point, though. They're going to, like, we always commit war crimes. This just makes it easier because then you can just say that the AI did it or whatever. And not have as a direct line of culpability or whatever if you're actually ever put into a position where you might face consequences. So I see AI functionally as more of like a a blame game sort of thing as opposed to like it actually like accidentally hallucinating a war crime because we're going to do war crimes with or without AI. But I would be curious if there's any info if it was used in this strike. Anyway, U.S. Central Command refused to comment on the preliminary findings of the inquiry. It would be inappropriate to comment given the incident is under investigation, a CENTCOM official told The Intercept by mail. The National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and the Defense Intelligence Agency did not immediately reply to requests for comment on their potential involvement in providing intelligence that led to the strike. The investigation's findings were widely expected as evidence of a U.S. attack on the investigation's findings were widely expected as evidence of a U.S. attack on the school mounted. A video released on Sunday by Iran's semi-official Mehr news agency showed a cruise missile striking the IRGC naval base beside the elementary school as smoke appears to billow from the school itself, indicating that it had recently been struck. According to Bellingcat, the cruise missile was a Tomahawk missile. The U.S. Bellingcat is like, sorry, I think. Oh, okay. They're like another news organization. Uh, Sorry, I had to double check what that was. The cruise missile was a Tomahawk missile. The U.S. is the only party to the conflict employing Tomahawk missiles. Hey, you never know. Maybe Israel got their grubby little fingers on one of those. I mean, I think they're what, like $1 billion a piece or something. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably like a maybe like 10 million a piece if I had to guess these Tomahawk missiles. Um, America, regardless of what so-called international institutions say, is unleashing the most lethal and I know he said this one is unleashing the most lethal and precise air power campaign in history. Hegseth said at a March 2nd press conference. No stupid rules of engagement. Yeah, just openly stating that we're just doing war crimes now. You know what? The mask is off. I just wish that the face underneath was a little bit prettier. CENTCOM would not offer an estimated civilian death toll for the U.S. war on Iran. More than 1,300 Iranian civilians have been killed, according to the Iranian Red Crescent Society. An investigation by Air Wars, a UK-based airstrike monitoring group, found that the first days of the Iran war saw far more sites targeted than any recent US or Israeli military campaign. While the rate of civilian harm cannot be solely predicted by the number of targets hit, initial indications suggest it has been high, particularly with US targets correlating with heavily populated areas. Where have we heard that before? Where have we heard targets correlating with heavily populated areas? Hmm. Think I think a little country by the name of Israel has mentioned something about targeting places in heavily populated areas before. But according to the Air Wars report, the targets map heavily onto the highest populated area. Of course. Yep, that's where we are now in America. The decline is happening. The decline of our country, the decline of our military also comes with a decline in our morality that was predicted years ago by decades ago, really, by um, economists or like by various like historians and stuff. Like it always happens when a country declines, so does their morality. It's kind of like this inevitable show of like bluster that you have to present when you're in a weak position, right? It's like the weakest people always lash out the most, right? Um, and when you read these comments by Hegseth, like you have to interpret that as like, yes, we are in the America is currently in the weakest position it has ever been historically. Um, and so we're going to behave accordingly. We're going to lash out accordingly. And that's how I always read those statements. Unfortunately, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. The only hope that we have of not entering, full forthright or like, Nazism or whatever is like maybe the AI bubble collapses before we really, you know, enter enter invading Mexico territory or whatever. So yeah, that was, oh, what a fun read by me. I'm glad I decided to read that one, make myself a little bit more depressed.